So I'm William Lees again. Here's the list of members of the software working group. We realized this morning we've left one off, and that's Georgina Leslie, who I'll mention in a moment, and we definitely need to add to the list. We do have an extensive email list as well, but these are the people who've been regularly attending the meetings. Should we go on to the next slide, please? So these were our goals for 2021. And I mean, I think COVID has been quite difficult for us because our goals depend on quite a bit of work from people building software tools. And typically those are master's students, and they've had a very difficult time in the pandemic, as we know, with disruptions to their programs and so on. We were aiming early on to complete the benchmarking framework, and that unfortunately also got impacted by changes in the group in Switzerland, changes of priority there, and also some key people leaving. This came around the time that Wenming Xiao joined us, and he was mentioned earlier as the lead of this very big FDA precision initiative to essentially establish standards for the approval of medical applications of AIRR-seq. And we decided to work with him to fold the future of the benchmarking framework. This is a framework for benchmarking annotation tools, essentially, so IGBlast and VQuest and things like that. We decided to fold the future of that program into the precision FDA work. So as we heard at the beginning with biological standards, they are starting, the FDA program is starting by looking at reagents and biological test mixes that can be used to validate sequencing, different sequencing technologies. And we anticipate that they will move on to look at annotation once they've moved through that sequencing step. And at that point, we'll pick up with them the benchmarking framework. Alongside that, the test data sets for annotation tools has been an objective of the working group for a long time. We haven't made much progress with that either, but again, that's something that we're hoping will be picked up in the FDA precision collaboration as well. The final piece of work that we took on in Genoa, which I think is a very interesting and exciting piece of work, is to come up with a tool that we can use to assess the credibility of a repertoire. So you're new to the field, you go out there, you sequence some data, you get a repertoire. How do you know whether that is good or not? Or have you just been sequencing the same fragment of DNA over and over again and coming up with what looks like a large clone, but is actually lots of reads with associated errors in some of the reads? So this would be a tool rather like FastQC, which would know about the characteristics of repertoires and would be able to tell you, for example, yes, all your primers are working. You seem to have reads of the right kind of length. The clonal structure of your repertoire looks sensible, that kind of thing. Georgina Leslie, who I mentioned earlier, has been spearheading this work as part of her MSc. She has largely completed the different tests that we anticipated to have first time around based on a framework that Susanna Marquez provided to her to start with. That's in test with the working group at the moment, and we hope to have it running soon. Just to mention two other ongoing things, we have also been involved in this series of articles that's been mentioned by all the working groups to put together practices and procedures. And we do also have a badging approach for validating software tools that meet our standards and comply to our standards. And we have 9 tools validated right now. We would love to have more. Chaim, do you want to take us through the future?
Sure. So here are our goals for the next period. As William said, RepCred is nearly done, but we don't quite have it as it's really an alpha, I guess I would say. And we want to get it over the finish line, write a manuscript describing it, and really put it out there as something that people can use, because that's ultimately the goal. We're, as William also mentioned, we're aligning our benchmarking and gold standard data set initiatives with the Precision FDA BCR CQC initiative. And so we'll be collaborating with Wenming and his team on that, as are many groups. And beyond that, we want to survey both our working group membership as well as the broader community membership for areas to focus on. We'd like to get input from industry on what their needs are and how we can continue to grow and contribute to those. And similarly to that vein, we want to support the communications subcommittee in their industry initiative by drawing on our team's knowledge of the tools that are available. So we're going to be working on those things, and as many people have said, we'd love to have you come join us. At the moment, William and I are going to continue as co-chairs of the working group, unless anybody wants to, challenge us, in which case we'll tuck our tail and happily yield. But yeah, even if you don't want to co-chair, please come join us as working group members. We can use help on a lot of our projects. Our current meeting schedule is the first Wednesday of each month. And there are contact emails for the working group and our mailing list if you want to sign up. Questions?
Felix.
So I was just wondering about RepCred, and then Gore and Innishtech, I think, have this kind of reproducibility stream that they've been working on. Do those connect, or?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's interesting actually that I mentioned our benchmarking effort stalled, but the software lives on. The framework that was being used for benchmarking has moved to Innishtech in Porto, who are using it to examine reproducibility of repertoire annotation. And that does have quite an overlap with, our original goals for benchmarking. But it's being conducted now under the AIRR-C umbrella. But we should get results from that. So the work hasn't died. I should have mentioned that.
Absolutely. I would say also, reproducibility is important, but that's not actually the goal of the RepCred. I think that they live side by side very nicely. So RepCred is much more about quality of a single sequencing run, or of a single sample run, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Whereas reproducibility, which is also super important and of interest to multiple working groups, is something that's a bit different. Like I said, very, very much in the same way of thinking, and very important. But I think that those are not overlapping really at the moment.
Yeah, the aim of RepCred is very much to help someone who's new to the field, who's produced their first repertoire. Is this a good repertoire that they can rely on, or are there some potential issues that they should follow up?
And I think even for advanced users, like a lot of us will still load a data set into FastQC basically every single time just to take a look at it real quick. And I think that that's the goal for RepCred too, is to be something that you can, just use it as a screen, just pick it up, pull it up, look at it real quick, make sure everything looks good, and if there's anything that needs to be followed up.
Are there any plans to add these softwares to like Galaxy or Anvil or any other type of like cloud platforms?
Well, we're all being asked to upload our tools to Precision FDA, Galaxy. I mean, that's quite a major effort, because obviously it's not just doing it once. It's the continuation. I mean, under our software guidelines, the software guidelines that get you a label that says you're AIRR-C compliant, we ask for tools to be containerized, and that at least means you have a standard form to adopt them. I think that's I mean, Jaime, I don't know if you've got anything to add, but I think that's as far as we've gone so far.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully we've actually softened the requirement for auto building the containers, because the resources for that at like Docker Hub are not available anymore for most people. So we've softened the requirement for containers that build automatically, but certainly it's something that we would encourage people to do if they have the resources to make that kind of investment. Obviously it's in keeping with our goals as a working group and as a community.
Right.
Yeah, just one quick comment. So we're working on integrating analysis tools into the AIRR-seq platform. We're talking about that in one of the deep dives. I'll just throw that out there if people are interested. The other thing I was going to say, and I'm the last person that would really want to think of having another working group, but I'm wondering if this community would be interested in a reproducibility working group. It seems like an area that could use some focus. I think it's kind of floating around a lot of working groups. I don't know why I said that. That was stupid, Brian.
I think it is.
Right,
I think it is key to the, to the software working group. I mean, we would be delighted to pull that in, and I just like to echo, Chaim's thing about the co-chairs. We've been co-chairing this work group for a long time now. It could do with some new blood, and if there's anybody out there who would like to bring things in.
I think William's been co-chair for 5 years, and I've been co-chair for 4 years, but also for 2 years before that. So
yeah, so we're both time expired now. So seriously, if anybody would like to help us develop things in a new direction, that would be great. And I do think reproducibility would be a fantastic topic for us.
I mean, I was just going to reinforce what William said. So we are happy to have this effort under the software working group. We are coordinated with William. He takes part in our meetings, and Gur as well as mentioned. So I mean, if there is already a place to do it, we don't need to create a new working group.
I don't think we need to do a new working group, but because there are different parts of it that are going to be in different phases, right? There's going to be certainly a bench aspect, a technical aspect, and also an analysis aspect that will be more compatible for us.
Okay, I sense we're out of time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.